This right here is one of those situations where, honestly, to tell you the truth, not everything is as it seems. But let's go ahead and take a scalpel and kind of cut through the BS with this one.
Taking place. And I think you know enough to know that that's true. Some of them felt very salty about that. We certainly are not blaming JJ Redick.
Can I pause you on that? They were salty because he chose to do a podcast with a white guy, or because it hurt Darvin Ham?
Because it hurt Darvin
Got it.
Ham.
Okay.
Because it hurt.
Yeah. Let me state this really carefully, okay? Stephen A. Smith is a race baiter, okay? He is disgraceful.
James do that. What does that have to do with you and your white ass, Doug Gottlieb?
We got ourselves a little bit of beef between Stephen A. Smith and Doug Gottlieb over at Fox Sports. Now, guys, let's just say the narrative of race baiting is getting kicked around here, and it's getting kicked around for good reason. However, the thing is this right here. When you actually know the story itself, it definitely does not seem that way given the personalities. But then again, though, at the same time, it's also a very, very weird dynamic that given the personalities, it could also come off that way. Now, before we get started, I want to go ahead and tell you guys right now that there's only going to be one more video for sure being posted this week. It's going to be posted tomorrow. It's going to be about the debate prep between Biden and Trump. I will give you guys my reasons for that at the very end of the video because some things have changed. And of course, something is going on, obviously health related, needs to go ahead and get squared away immediately now that something is opened up, but I'll explain that more towards the end of the video. So, what is actually going on in this situation? So, you guys know LeBron James. You guys know all the politics, all that stuff there. I personally don't go after him when it comes to him being a father, Bronny James, that stuff there. I think that is a completely separate issue. And, of course, to go on top of this, I don't go after LeBron for his play. The guy is obviously gifted. He's very, very good at what he does. It's mostly the political nonsense, those takes there that obviously I go after him on. But this video right here is not really about LeBron James. It's actually more so about Stephen A. Smith, whom, by the way, if you get away from the politics and stuff, which of course we all know the real reason why he's doing it, because obviously at ESPN, he's got script writers telling him to go to a certain direction. And obviously on his podcast, he's got to cater to the more of the woke variety. So obviously he's got the woke handlers basically telling him, hey, look, you might not want to say this, you might not want to say that. That's basically what Stephen A. Smith's life is at this moment in time. And to tell you the truth, he's got to make a decision here real soon based upon his contract, whether he wants to do podcasting or stay at ESPN. Either way, though, this situation would obviously make you think that obviously the race card is once again about to get pulled. What's going on here? So the Lakers, they needed a head coach. And LeBron James is really good friends with JJ Redick. JJ Redick, by the way, former Duke alumni, obviously played in the NBA himself. They've been friends for a while, and people were upset because there was the podcast episode where LeBron was actually on JJ's podcast, and the current head coach, or the head coach of the Lakers at the time, was on the hot seat. And many people have already jumped to the conclusion that LeBron James is bringing in J.J. Redick because J.J. Redick is LeBron's best friend. That's the narrative that they're going with. So you probably think to yourself, okay, so what's the big deal here? Well, the big deal here is Stephen A. Smith's past, and obviously Doug Gottlieb at Fox Sports kind of called him out for it, but we'll get to that here in a second. But let's look at some of the things that have been said since this whole situation broke out.
Platform of First Take, even though I said it on the Stephen A. Smith Show, let me repeat it again to let everybody know I didn't stutter, okay? Black coaches called the black commentator to complain about a black superstar doing a podcast while his black head coach was on the hot seat before he ultimately lost the damn job. What does that have to do with white folks? Some things are none of your damn business.
Nothing.
It was a black on black thing, but you got other folks who will remain nameless working for other networks with their irrelevant ass selves, popping their junk, okay? And the fact of the matter is, it has absolutely positively nothing to do with that. It's about the fact that this situation ended up looking the way that it looks optically, and now LeBron James is going to have to go out on that basketball court with what you said, Shay, knowing that JJ's got to walk into that locker room with what Udonis Haslem said in terms of, hey, when JJ talks, you're going to have people raising that proverbial eyebrow, wondering whether it's coming from him or whether it's coming from LeBron. Yeah. All those things you're going to have to deal with. That's just the reality of the situation.
Okay, let me go ahead and say this. This right was the first clip that went viral all over Twitter. And the reason why it went viral is because Stephen A is obviously trying to explain to people, and you guys obviously saw the stuff at the very, very beginning. Stephen A is trying to explain to people that people were upset about J.J. Redick's firing, not because of his race, but because of the relationship that he has with LeBron, while at the exact same time, the fact that this was obviously being done when the previous head coach was still in power, or they were angling towards this. Do you guys remember a couple of years back, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant got together in Brooklyn, and they got Steve Nash to be their head coach? A lot of people accused those two guys in particular of choosing the white man over the black man not getting an opportunity to be the head coach, when in reality what the hell was really going on is that these guys were obviously looking for a certain system. I remember back in 2017, people jumped all over the Miami Dolphins because they refused to sign Colin Kaepernick, even though he showed up to a press conference one day wearing a pro-Castro shirt. Miami, by the way, being a city that's pretty daggone Cuban, who, by the way, these Cubans left Cuba to get away from Castro. And also to go on top of that, the contract was given to Jay Cutler, obviously a very, very special individual. He's gotten a lot better since he's gotten his own podcast and gotten away from the NFL, but still, the point is this right here. Adam Gase was the head coach, and the system, the scheme, fit a quarterback who once was in Adam Gase's scheme. It was only a one-year deal, and nobody expected anything to happen as a result of this. And Jay Cutler's wife, Kristen Cavallari, even accused him of being lazy, even though he had like hundreds of millions of dollars in his bank account. And of course, we all know what happened in that marriage. The point is this right here. They wanted Jay Cutler for two reasons. Number one, or they wanted somebody other than Colin Kaepernick for two reasons. Number one, Jay Cutler understood the scheme that we're going to be running. And number two, which I think really should be number one, is the fact the city of Miami was, in fact, a city full of Cuban residents who did not like Fidel Castro, and they didn't exactly approve of Colin Kaepernick. So what does that have to do with this situation here? Well, once again, people are obviously making up all kinds of excuses, all kinds of reasons to say, hey, look, J.J. Redick was picked because of his race. Black coaches were obviously passed over. And, of course, Stephen A. Smith is out here basically telling people, no. That now is not what the hell's really truly going on here. And he's even defending the people who've been calling him up. But given the track record of everything that's happened in the past, one might come away with the conclusion that what Doug Gottlieb said here could, in fact, be true.
Said in regards to J.J. Redick, LeBron doing J.J. Redick's podcast.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That he's heard from other coaches, namely black coaches, that have an issue with it.
Yeah. Let me state this really, really carefully, okay? Stephen A. Smith is a race baiter, okay? He is disgraceful saying that on national TV. Disgraceful. So J.J. Redick and LeBron James are clearly friends. They have a relationship. They have mutual respect for one another. The only one who's making it out to be a racial thing is Stephen A. Smith, which he is creating this. This is honestly pure evil. That's what bad people do.
Gottlieb also said a lot more in this situation, but I'm going to link this video right here in the description box for you guys. I also pulled a small segment from that video to show you guys here, because obviously there's something here that quite frankly needs to be said that I'm probably not going to be allowed to say on the internet because of but the point is this right here. Doug Gottlieb is going off of Stephen A. Smith's past, and Doug would also at the exact same time go on to say that when Stephen A. had COVID, he checked in on him all the time, and of course that they knew one another. And of course, Stephen A. eventually goes on his podcast to basically tell everybody, look, I really truly don't know Doug Gottlieb, and your language is the type of language that a white nationalist would use, which of course I think is stupid for these people to do, because I think that there is another way to go about this discussion. But with that being said, let's go ahead and react, and let's go ahead and respond to what Stephen A. is saying.
Shade on them. I'm talking specifically about Mr. Gottlieb, whose name I never mentioned. Never. I don't dislike him. I don't like him. I don't really know him. I don't have much use for him, just like he apparently has no use for me. But I never discussed him. He has said some BS over the years. He said some dumb shit over the years. I've never brought it up. I don't bother him. But this guy goes on his show on Thursday accusing me of being a race baiter. for reporting that black NBA coaches condemned J.J. Redick's podcast with LeBron James. But before I go any further, let me quote what Doug Gottlieb.
Okay, once again, before we get to that full quote, I want to go ahead and say this. What is Stephen A. Smith's track record? Or ask, what's his track record? What is the sports media's track record at this moment in time? Especially ESPN, which for the most part is BET. I kind of find it funny, though, how it is I go to the gym every morning and it says ESPN bet right there on the TV, but of course I'm automatically thinking not bet as in gambling, but I'm thinking bet as in black entertainment television. Yeah, I got some crap back here, just call it. But still, the point is this right here. What's the track record of these people? What is the track record of Stephen A. and what is the track record of ESPN? They typically tend to go to the racial narrative first, or they bring the racial narrative up. It always pops up, regardless of what the situation is. When obviously the real reason why there's this situation here is because J.J. Redick was contacted before the previous head coach, who, by the way, was on the hot seat. And yes, of course, it did, in fact, undermine him. However, the point is this right here. If you're already on the hot seat, I don't think that undermining the coach is going to matter too much, given the fact that the organization has probably already made their decision. I mean, these were the same people who got rid of Phil Jackson after he guided them to 5 NBA rings. I want to say that they got rid of him twice, but still at the same time, though, just giving you guys the track record of that organization too. I don't think that race is necessary in this situation. And I think that Doug Gottlieb is, for the most part, just simply reacting and responding, and of course calling out the past, because obviously this narrative does in fact come up. But still at the same time, though, I'm pretty sure there was a better way of handling this situation, but let's continue.
Quote, Stephen A. Smith. Remember, this is him bringing up my name, y'all. He started this. Stephen A. Smith is a race baiter. He is disgraceful, saying that on national television. Disgraceful. J.J. Redick and LeBron James are clearly friends. They have a relationship. They have mutual respect for one another. The only one who's making it out to be a racial thing is Stephen A. Smith. He is creating this. This is honestly pure evil. That's what bad people do. So I'm a bad person now. This is what bad people do. Oh, he doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. This is just as bad as the perception that President Trump stokes the white nationalist flame. Same thing. There's no difference. No difference. None. So I want y'all to understand the magnitude of what Doug Gottlieb just said. Doug Gottlieb just compared my saying that black coaches who have called me had a problem with the podcast. And I'll get into that in a second. But
okay, you guys obviously heard the quote. And to go on top of that, once again, it would not be, how do I say, out of bounds for somebody to respond to somebody's past or somebody's past takes. It would not be out of bounds for somebody to look at the situation and say, yeah, you guys have goaded us on this race narrative so daggone much that it's pretty obvious that that's what it is. That's probably what Doug Gottlieb is saying. However, I'm showing you guys something here in the B-roll footage, and of course, you guys know me. I'm one of Stephen A. Smith's biggest detractors, and this right to me, I think, is just further more evidence that Stephen A. Smith, once again, when he goes on ESPN First Take, is completely on script. It's probably white people writing the script, because we all know it's white people, white liberals, who are driving the race narrative or using the black people as puppets in this situation. And we all know that that is the case. Everybody with half a brain can see that, or half a brain can obviously come up with that. Well, I mean, there's a blind man can see it, but still, at the same time, we all know what the past is, and people, for the most part, are responding to the track record. People are responding for what this guy has said in the past. However, the reason why I'm showing you guys this stuff right here in the B-roll footage is because here it is, Stephen A. Smith is out here chilling with all these white fans at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which the Panthers ended up winning after being up 3 games to none and then blowing the series. It's a very, very odd series. The point is this right here. It's pretty obvious that a lot of this crap is manufactured for the most part for emotional, well, it's the pro wrestling playbook that's being designed to pit people against one another. That right there is what the hell this really and truly is. And the sooner you just cut off the daggone noise, the better. But still at the same time, though, I think that Doug Gottlieb, once again, is for the most part just simply responding to how Stephen A. Smith has been in the past. And, of course, when this writer pops back up, the situation, you're automatically going to think that the race narrative is, in fact, going to be used. But let's continue.
That and equating that to Donald Trump and white nationalists. So when the mayhem took place in Charlottesville, Virginia, and a young lady was killed, And we had folks out there marching and white supremacists making themselves conspicuous. And Donald Trump goes over the airwaves and say, there were good and bad people on both sides. That's the equivalent of this.
And this right here is what I mean when it's not necessary. The Charlottesville lie, once again, even Snopes confirms that the media is full of crap on that, okay? Even Snopes confirmed that the media was lying on that one, okay? I've already put the quote up here, already put everything up for you guys to see. Here the B-roll footage. I'll link the article in the description box. But as you guys can obviously see, they're still running with that BS, but let's continue.
And Donald Trump was surrounded by men in the military walking over to do a prop. I believe it was a Bible in his hand. That equates to me talking about LeBron James. Dare I say, only somebody who thinks about white nationalists would say something like that, like what Doug Gottlieb said. But I won't go there because I don't know Doug Gottlieb.
Of course, they're going back to the George Floyd riots. I found it very, very funny that these people were going after Trump because he had a Bible in his hand and went across the street to a church. There were rioters destroying the city of Washington, D.C. There were rioters destroying every city in the country, every major city. I mean, to me, the projection here is ridiculous because none of these people even called out the riots. But let's continue.
About white nationalists would say something like that, like what Doug Gottlieb said. But I won't go there because I don't know Doug Gottlieb like that. And quite frankly, I don't want to know him. So I'm not going to accuse him of being anything. I'm going to stick to what exactly he said. First things first. Doug Gottlieb was a hell of a basketball player, which I was not. Doug Gottlieb was a guy, if I remember correctly, led the nation in assists. Brother had game. He's now the coach, the head basketball coach at Wisconsin Green Bay. Wish him nothing but the best. I'm not rooting against him. We're going to stick to his commentary, his comments right now. Black coaches who called me, all of them didn't call me, about 5 or 6 of them called. Their whole attitude, nobody had a single problem against J.J. Redick. Nobody questioned LeBron James and J.J. Redick's friendship.
Okay, then if nobody questioned their friendship, why did you guys not put that out to begin with? I mean, then again, at the same time, though, it might have actually stunk a little bit more if they'd actually done that. I'm not too sure, but once again, people are responding more to the track record than anything else. Given the track record of the NBA, given the track record of ESPN, given the track record of the very, very liberal sports media to go to the race narrative first, it's pretty daggone obvious that people are obviously going to respond. And of course, your response is to go ahead and basically say that he's already talking white nationalist talking points. I don't know what those talking points really and truly are. I really don't, because I've never actually seen anybody use actual talking points for that movement. But still, at the same time, though, I think that we're already jumping the gun, and I think that there's a philosophical discussion that could be had here without jumping to race. You see, the thing is, you got to understand about the racial conversation is that once it happens, both sides end up going into the gutter. Typically, what tends to happen is that people on the right or people in the middle or people who are just even center left, they kind of do something, make a perfectly rational decision, perfectly rational judgment on something, and then people on the left immediately take it and start using it as race. And what they typically do is they tend to wind up one crowd against the other to start calling people racist, stuff like that. And then eventually they want you to apologize, bow, all that type of stuff. They're kind of like what cancel culture is. Typically you beat this when you choose not to apologize to the mob. Some people obviously feel it. This Pat McAfee does it all the daggone time to the point where it's pretty daggone common for him to do so. The point is this right here. This conversation should probably have never gone that far. I think that what Stephen A. should have done was, instead of saying this right sounds like white nationalist talking points, what he should have just done was just stayed on the actual truth. And if he'd have done that, he might be able to get some of his credibility back. But once again, here we are melting down over nothing.
The problem with is that the timing of the podcast undermined Darvin Ham, who was on the hot seat. And they were asking, why would LeBron James do that? What does that have to do with you and your white ass, Doug Gottlieb?
And that right there is the key phrase that told everybody that, maybe sports media is just a little bit too emotional. Look, this story was actually a perfectly harmless story at first, if it is to be believed. But because of these people's track record, obviously somebody's going to call it out, and obviously somebody is going to say something about this, and somebody's going to say, wait a minute. This right here obviously doesn't smell right. Now, it's very possible that Doug Gottlieb, once again, I mean, it's possible he may have got this one incorrect. But still, at the same time, though, I think that actually sticking with the truth and not getting in the gutter, I think that would have probably been the best way to go forward. But then again, at the same time, though, as Doug Gottlieb, you do need to call this type of race baiting crap out if it is race baiting at all. This situation, at least as far as I can see, has only gotten this far because of the liberal sports media's past with Stephen A. Smith in the front. Of course, if this type of topic comes up, and guess what? Somebody's obviously going to call out, and they're probably going to think that this is race baiting, and they're probably thinking maybe they're trying to race bait the issue. It's also possible that maybe it was a preemptive strike that probably should not have occurred. Maybe it was designed to maybe change focus on it. I really, truly don't know what Doug Gottlieb was doing with this, but then again, at the same time, though, Greg is correct. You do need to call this nonsense out. And Stephen A., I think, could have avoided this if he had just decided not to go into the gutter. But then again, though, it is what it is. Now, let me go ahead and tell you guys what's going on at this moment in time with me. It shouldn't take long. And, of course, I'm going to be putting it back in tomorrow in a video that I'm making today about my situation and also what to expect in the debate for tomorrow between Biden. Well, the debate's going to be occurring on Thursday, but I want to just go ahead and get that debate prep video out for you guys to see on Wednesday. But let's go ahead and go into this. Now, really quick, this same clip is also going to be in tomorrow's video because this is probably going to be the one time I can actually explain things a proper way. If you've been subscribed to my channel from the start, then you know that I have an issue with my right leg. I can still walk and all that stuff and still work out and all that stuff right there, but I can't like run, walk fast, anything. It's because I got an aneurysm in my right popliteal artery, okay? However, the doctors have recently found out that I've got something else that needs to be addressed first, and it's the thing that obviously is much, much more important. The hospital, the Veterans Affairs, finally has a date scheduled for me to go up there and get this issue taken care of. Now, the reason why I'm posting this clip now is because they're expected to take care of this issue on Friday. And of course, if you're at the government's behest, the VA, if they tell you we got to take care of it, you obviously got to go ahead and take care of it right then. It's a pretty big deal. It's surgery it's basically it's the carotidectomy. I can't remember how you pronounce it. So basically, they got to go in and clean the plaque out of my artery. And of course, it's a routine surgery for these types of hospitals, but still at the same time, it's still surgery. Never actually had it, so obviously I've got some feelings on that. But the goal is to go ahead and to take care of it on Friday. Now, if there's no videos here on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, it's probably because I just can't post. I'm just down, probably weak, probably in the hospital. I think I'll probably be there on Friday and Saturday maybe. But still, at the same time, though, it's possible they can still move it to Monday or Tuesday. I would personally like to go ahead and get this taken care of because the last report I got, I didn't exactly feel too good about it. I get pain in my face, all that type of stuff there. I don't want to have a stroke, okay? I don't want to die. Obviously, I want to stay here, continue to tell you guys what's going on, give you guys reports on what's happening. And I do have faith that this procedure will go through just fine. I have full faith that the doctors have God has definitely got his hands on them. Also, given the nature of how things have kind of sped up, given the report yesterday and seeing how things have done, I just feel very, very comfortable that things are being taken care of. But still, at the same time, that you guys need to know exactly what's going on. So if you don't see any content on this weekend, that's the reason why. However, if a video is released on Saturday or Sunday, chances are they probably just moved it back. And of course, we'll be right back here talking about the same issue. So basically what I said, when I say that the scheduling, the posting is going to be kind of wonky, that's kind of what I mean by that. Either way, though, guys, still make sure you guys please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're new here. Please share the video. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say. Even if it's about my personal situation, please do so. And I will see you guys later.